Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
We are entering the heart of earnings season now. All kinds of stocks reporting this morning, big companies, and tonight we've got some too. This morning, Travelers, Johnson & Johnson, DuPont, and Verizon have all reported earnings. Tonight we've got Google, IBM, AMD, Texas Instruments. Tomorrow the big gun, Apple, McDonald's, Netflix, and United Technologies. We're going to analyze all these reports right now, starting with the overall market here, Joel.
Made a new high for the move, a multi-year high, 1484 and a quarter. That's the only number you have on the upside. Friday's high, 1481, minor resistance. So we did make a new high for the move. We are peeling back here before the 9:30 open. Really don't see any major support in this market down until the 1470 and a quarter level, which was Friday's low.
We've got some big reports. Johnson & Johnson reported earnings here this morning. They beat by a couple of cents, $1.19 versus $1.17. The guidance for the full year a little bit light here though, 535 to 545. Estimates were up at 549. So that's got the stock trading down about 75 cents right now. It's at 72.52 on 24,000 shares. So Johnson & Johnson pulling back just a bit here this morning.
Yeah, that actually closed on Friday at 73.23, which was not only the daily high, the weekly high, an all-time high for J&J. We trudged our way up through those big offers at 73, closed on the high of the day. They didn't like the news. They initially took it down to 71.69 before getting a rebound here. Trading at the 72.50 level. First thing to note is not a ton of volume associated with this. The second thing to note from a technical perspective here, that would be Friday's low, 72.79. You may get a chance to play it there. It's acting as resistance now. Besides the 71.60 low, which I don't think we're going to get, I do see support at the 72 even.
So many people underinvested in stocks, and this is a staple. And you look at this stock, and it pulls back 75 cents or a buck, and you got to think the investment community is going to look at it as a buying opportunity. So it would not surprise me if this thing does start to bounce eventually. 72.50 a little high for me. I love that $72 number. It kissed that number on January the 15th. If it got down to that level, I think it will find some support there. But these stocks, even though the guidance a little bit light for the full year by a dime, I think you're just going to see investors coming in and scooping some of these stocks up. Got another one that's just reported here too this morning is Verizon, and this stock has been not on a good run here ever since it went ex-dividend. It's been straight down. They're blaming Sandy. They reported earnings of 38 cents. Estimates were up at 50. Stock is down $1 here right now again on Verizon. It's not pretty. You do have some support, that kind of double bottom you're probably going to point out, 41.50 area from a few days ago. Below that, you don't really have much support until 40.50.
Right. Looking at the pre-market, you've had two spikes down to 41.26 on one spike, and then 41.26 again. So someone's making a stand here at 41.26. That's just below the double bottom level that we had at 41.50. So look that to be a good area of support where we're trading right now. If in fact it takes that out, Dennis, you're right. 40.51 was the low on November 16th. Coming back on the upside, got a ways to go to get to yesterday's low, 42.07, Friday's low that would be. So major resistance comes down to 42.
I think you could get a good buying opportunity in AT&T off of this. It had a key reversal day on Friday where it opened up near the lows. They were talking about that charge that we talked about on Friday. It opened up near the lows and just started bouncing. Obviously, it's pulling back here on the Verizon news. It's trading around 32.96 right now, but there is massive support down here in this 32.71 area. That's where we got to on Friday. That's where, or we got to 32.76 on Friday. But if you go
Yep.
back into November, you had a double bottom in the 32.71 area. Just huge support here, about 25 cents down from where we're trading. I think this is going to be one of those that opens up near the lows and bounces. So watch the open on this one. There could be a decent buying opportunity here.
Yeah, this chart is actually kind of reminding me a little bit of Mr. Softy
Yeah, you
when
get to this.
Microsoft got down to that 2630 level. It just kept on bouncing. Here you have the same thing. You have a stock with a nice pays a nice dividend. You're getting in on it. Very defined risk here. Under that 3271, you can even wait a couple days to see how it trades at this level. And also, 80,000 shares, really not that much compared to what the average daily volume in it, which is close to, 15, 20 million.
Travelers Group reported here they blew the numbers away. Stock trading up over $2 this morning. They reported 72 cents. Estimates were at only 14 cents. So Travelers looking really good here, breaking out. It's light volume, 9,400 shares, but man, that's a massive beat.
Yeah, it is. You're right about the volume, 78.94 high in the pre-market. So that's really the only resistance that I can give you. Coming back on the downside here. Support will start at 76.67. That was Friday's high. Just not a lot to say about this one. Just buyer beware off the open if you don't get immediate follow through the pre-market
And
high.
remember, you can always play the whole numbers on stocks like this when they are breaking out. We're at 78.5. It is a thin issue. This thing will move. It's probably going to have a dollar or $1.50 range. I'd bet at least during the regular session. If this thing starts to sniff up into the high 79s, gets in that 80 area, I think you probably will find resistance around that whole number. And it could get some momentum going. It's a pretty big beat when you get those institutions saying, oh, we want to own this. They got to move up a little bit to get stock because it's not as liquid as something like your Johnson Johnsons or your Verizons. DuPont reported here this morning, double D stock trading up 50 cents right now, 47.55. They actually beat by 4 cents. They kind of raised guidance. Estimates for the full year were at 384. They said they're going to be 385 to 405, so I guess that's considered raising guidance here. Stock is trading up, looking good. You're in this whole gap area now, back
Yeah.
from October.
Yeah, 48 was the high in the pre-market. You actually have to get up to 49.07 to fill that gap. Boy, it's wicked. 48 to 49, there's not much in there. If we start to peel back, let's use 47.02 as support. That's where we broke out from. Just a note again, 27,000 shares have traded in this issue. Trades more like 5-6 million a day. So this is a pretty big move for DuPont. Keep an eye on that $48 level, which is the pre-market high.
We got some big reports tonight here as well. Google's the biggest of them all, going to be reporting after the bell, unless they pull the thing they did last time. Remember, they came out accidentally in the middle of the day. But they're supposed to report after the bell here. Stock is trading up a couple of bucks, 706.50. We know Google likes to move. It's 40, 50 points off its earnings report. I don't know if it's going to move that much this time, but expect some major volatility, obviously, after the report.
Yeah, really not much to speak of in the pre-market. Stock did fill the gap from the end of the year, end of 2012, January 1st, which a lot of stocks haven't. The market hasn't. Rallied all the way back up to that 740 level, and
Major
then I think
resistance up there.
people just got nervous ahead of earnings. We pulled back here. Couldn't get under the $700 level. I'd keep an eye on major support here at 696. Coming back on the upside, you really don't have support until Friday's high at 712.77.
Yeah, and if you're trading this off the earnings report, keep in mind the triple top up at 745, 742 area because we know that after they report earnings, these things get thin and they like to trade up to where they've traded or levels before or trade down to levels. So if the number beats, so saying scenario analysis here, if they come out really good numbers and they start buying it, look for initial resistance to start in that 740 area. Obviously, if they miss, then it gets interesting. You start cutting through 700, it starts to open up a little bit. IBM also scheduled to report tonight. Here's a stock that has right up at resistance right now. Well, actually, 194.47 is trading down 40 cents in the pre-market, but it kissed up to that 195
Yeah.
resistance on Friday.
Yeah, that's put a cap in the stock. Believe it or not, saying it's kind of been holding a range for quite a while here, going back to early December. Really been in a 190 to 195 range. We snuck above 195 a few times, only got below 190 on one occasion here. So this stock is winding up here, kind of forming a base. I mean, obviously, the earnings will be key, but I'll be playing a breakout here above 195. There's got a lot of room up to the 196.5 level. And if we don't hold this 193.80, which we're trading pretty close to, you have minor support at 193.24. Then major support comes in at the 190.150 level.
For you guys that like to trade the $2 stocks, AMD does report earnings here tonight as well. That stock is trading up 5 cents right now here in the pre-market on pretty light volume, 44,000 shares. This thing trades a ton. But it had a breakdown day on Friday. It wasn't looking pretty. Stock opened up and just kept falling and closed near the lows here. So chart on this one's not looking nearly as pretty, but we know technicals take a back seat when fundamentals come out.
Yeah, 245 was the major support. You did sneak under that on Friday, 243, closed right at that level, getting a little bounce in the pre-market. I still like that 243 level as support. Coming up on the upside, multiple highs at the 268 to 270 level. You stuck above that for a couple days at 278, but looking for a 250 to 270 range in AMD today if you're playing it.
Big gun reporting tomorrow is Apple. Will report there after the bell. They've got this thing pegged right at 500. Look at the close for the option expiration. They peg it right at 500, so I guess the most contracts expire right there at the money. So they got to give the market makers a little bit of a hand there with the 500 close right on the button. It's trading $500.30, up 30 cents here. I'd expect the next 2 days probably to be a bit muted, a little bit of squaring in positions here ahead of the earnings report tomorrow night.
A lot of consolidation here at the $500 level. The low of the move happened last week at 483.38. I'll call that major support. Believe it or not, Apple had like a 6-point range on Friday, so use that is really tight. Use that as your parameters, but I don't know. Do you just get the feeling here it's just hanging out down here, and then the earnings going to come out and blow the street away?
Yeah.
Then everyone's just saying, "Oh, I had so many chances to buy Apple at 500," and I didn't. So I'm even thinking maybe taking a shot on some weekly calls here, make my donation to the SIBO, and maybe take a look at some out of the money calls.
Yeah, they're a little bit pricey is the problem.
They're
obviously.
Always pricey.
Well, when you get a day ahead of earnings, though, they're always even more pricey. So that's the one problem with those options. But still trading right at 500. Resistance very well defined here. If you're looking at it after the earnings report, 550 is absolutely enormous on this stock. That would be equivalent to a 50-point move from here. And we know Apple likes to move 40, 50 points just like Google off its earnings reports. If they blew the numbers away and the stock started spiking, I think you find major sellers up in the 550 area. Obviously, your low is defined, 483.38, but here's a stock, even if they miss, I think you're going to see, obviously you could see a sell-off, but any sell-off in this thing, I think you might find some people coming and licking their chops a little bit. There's people been eyeing the stock for a while. 43.38 obviously is your last reference point, really in the 400s. It starts to open up all over the place, but I'm not that bearish this stock here, even though this chart doesn't look great. I think this is one it's starting to, it'll be interesting to see what the earnings does, so... Also reporting here tomorrow will be Netflix. That stock obviously has been on a tear ever since Icon said that he had the major position building in the stock. It's been trading over $100, kissed up to make a double top up there in the 104.5 area. It's trading $99 right now, so down 17 cents. What's your take on this one?
You might look to see a little bit of profit taking ahead of earnings here. This stock is, like you said, it did kiss that 104.50 level. That's your major resistance. I think you got, if you're trying to protect some longs ahead of earnings, you have that low from Thursday at 95.75. Use that perhaps as an exit point, but probably could bounce between 95 and that 104.50 high before the earnings are released.
Mickey D is also reporting tomorrow morning. That stock is trading up 20 cents here this morning. Again, resistance well defined in this one. Obviously, we won't see that today, but tomorrow morning, if the earnings are good, you have major resistance up here in this $94 area, which is about buck 50 from where we're trading right now.
Yeah, this is coming back, battling all the way back to fill that gap that it had back on October 18th at 92.61 low. So folks that have been holding on to this stock, waiting for that gap to be filled, might get your opportunity today on it. It's had a nice run, just being under $90 at the beginning of the year. A nice rally here. Looking at that major resistance at that level you mentioned, right in 94. Double top in mid-October, 94.09, 94.16. But I guess Kramer was right on this one. He pumped the Mickey D's every time it's gotten whacked, and it's come back for him.
Yeah, it has kept coming back here. Keep an eye on that 94 level there tomorrow. Just looking here at at some news today. Research in Motion actually was trading in Canada yesterday. They didn't have the day off up there in Canada. Stock was trading up a buck in Toronto. It's obviously up a buck here this morning, moving to keep the price in line. They got an upgrade at Scotia Capital this morning. They were talking about a strategic alliance as well. So that's got the stock up big, 1.2 million shares. So Research in Motion continues to march higher.
A little bit of manipulation there, huh?
Well, it's always interesting. Every time it seems like the markets are closed, Joel. Every time it seems like the U.S. markets are closed, they pump this thing in Canada. So I don't know if it gets thinner over there in Canada. Now, well, the U.S. markets are closed. There'll be a lot less liquidity. Let's move this thing up. I don't know if obviously they start talking about the strategic alliance on that day, trying to, knowing the liquidity is probably going to be less because it isn't trading in the U.S. markets. So interesting that that's the second time in a row I think that we've had a U.S. holiday, and
don't you have a SEC over there or something like that?
Ontario Securities Commission?
Yeah. What is it? What? Oh,
they're allowed to come out with news. They can come out with news when they want.
Yeah. Well, they did a hell of a job. That's all I have to say.
Good day.
Believe it or not, the stock cut to 17.51.
That's crazy. There. Yeah.
Yep. It got to 72. 17.51. Since then, it's now you see it up a stick, but it was actually up quite a bit more. You're finding support here at the 1660 level. That's been the lowest since making that 1751 high. Going back out to the monthlies, you had a high a year ago at 1796 and 1734. So those Canadians were looking at those charts when they pumped it up into that resistance. 1751 right in the middle there. That'll be your major resistance. Coming back on the downside, as I said, 1660 is support. It takes out that 1660 support, and you're not going to see anything to the whole number at 16.
Caterpillar under pressure here this morning too. Wall Street Journal with an article looking at possible accounting issues in one of their Chinese subsidiaries. So that stock is trading down here, $1.40 on that news. I think it was Raymond James, I'm not sure, one of the analysts just came out a few minutes ago saying they don't think there's going to be issues there. Maybe that's why the stock's lifted a little bit here in the last few minutes, but it's trading 96.15 on 53,000 shares. So that's pretty decent volume for the cat.
Looking at the spikes it's had in the pre-market down to 95.60, did that on 2 occasions and bounced immediately, so we use that as support. Just looking at this chart, I mean, this $94 level is just enormous. If it really starts to go into reverse, that's just major lows there. 5 lows in a row between like 94 and 94 and a quarter. Coming back on the upside, yesterday's low was 96.09. We're still holding above that, so 96.50 right here will be your minor resistance, and then you really don't have much after that until the close at 97.62. But I don't think it's going to get there either.
Just a correction. It wasn't Raymond James Piper. It was Piper Jaffray that was
Piper.
coming out saying that they don't think there's going to be much of an issue here. So a little risk in those Chinese related charges possible there. So they're defending it. Caterpillar here still trading above, like you said, trading above the low. So it's not getting beat up too much on this, but under a little bit of pressure here this morning. Joel, what's your overall market thoughts here? We obviously are in the heart of earnings season now. We've pulled back a little bit here this morning, just a couple of points. Do you think we just continue the march higher?
It just seems like whatever sell off we get in the morning, it's just
We buy them in
muted.
the afternoon.
Yeah, we go down. They sell off, and then on Friday, you have some of the financials take off. You get something. You get a couple sectors going. They just buy up the market, and it rallies. 1475 right now is the pre-market low. I'll keep an eye on that. Below that, the major support comes in at 1470 and a quarter. And you got your resistance. Let's take out that 1484 and a quarter. That was the high that it traded yesterday. You still got to keep an eye on the 1480.50, which was Thursday's high, and 1481, which was Friday's high, as your major resistance.
That's our show for today. Have a great trading session, and we'll be back with you guys tomorrow.